centers of excellence as showcases. Also like your theater department, we wanted to have more of a presence there. So we'll show you that as we get into the master planning. Another thing that was identified is that Laney has a lot of multiple entries, and it's really hard to know when you go through an entry, are you on Laney campus? There's nothing there that kind of really makes that mark from that threshold, moving from the community onto the campus. And that's important. Once you get into a place, you like to know where you are and what you're part of. Another thing was wayfinding and accessibility. Even if you're intimate with Laney, you can get lost at times. Because of the buildings look so similar, they're naming as A through F as opposed to actual names. So that's one thing we looked at, is finding ways to be able to position yourself around campus without having a map on you. With that goes accessibility. The campus is accessible, but not easily accessible. We looked at ways in which we could ease that transition so that people that may have to use a ramp do not have to go so far or backtrack to get up and down on the levels. Another big concern was the sense of safety and security. As everybody knows, the lower level isn't the most ideal place to walk around at. There's some hidden areas, it's dark. Also security, as far as not knowing ahead, being able to look ahead and see what's around the corner. That's a problem here at Laney that we're gonna look into. Another thing was the connection to the estuary and the upgrade of outdoor facilities. Laney is really blessed that right through the middle runs this really great natural environment, and it's right at its doorstep. And we wanted to, or what we heard from you is that you wanted better access to that. So we considered that. And as you know, many of the facilities are in need of upgrading or replacement. So we definitely heard that from you all. Part of kind of the campus overview planning context is Laney is an urban campus. And that's what makes it, I think, very special. You're very close to downtown Oakland, which has many different spots of either Civic Center, Jack London Square, Chinatown, International Boulevard. In addition, you're served very well by Lake Merritt BART Station, is only 1 block away. Also 880 is very close for people having to travel on the freeway. And then even across the street, you have some nice cultural institutions, the Oakland Museum, which is going through an upgrade and renovation, as well as the Kaiser Convention Center, which many ideas have been thought for that, the latest being it would be the new Oakland Main Library. So that would be very nice to have right across the street. And probably one of the best things is, again, all the parkland that Laney is proximate to. The best being, of course, Lake Merritt, which is also undergoing a big renovation to improve its access and facilities, as well as the Channel Park. And as we've heard, also the development of Jack London Square, and there's also a project Oak to 9th to develop some of the industrial land below the freeway. So Laney, again, is just really at the center of a lot of what's going on. Kind of an overview of the assessment of the buildings. We did a lot of different assessments, both architectural, structural, MEP, mechanical, electrical, plumbing. So this chart here kind of grades from red being the worst to blue being the best, and they're all kind of interlinked. But the main thing that came out of this is a campus that's a little over 40 years old, and almost every building was built at the same time. So a problem in one building is throughout the campus, and it's, you know, needs maintenance, definitely. So kind of looking more in depth at the connections that Laney has. Of course, there's the main roadway of 7th and 8th that traverses the whole campus. The connections that we identified being to Lake Merritt BART at Fallon, and then also the connection across 7th and 8th Street between F and E to the parking lot. And then there's also some other vehicle interactions. One with the main entry having a turnaround for traffic, which you're mixing traffic and pedestrian. The same down at 7th and 8th Street happens again, where there's the main crosswalk, there's introduced other traffic, you know, for parking and things like that. This kind of shows the new renovation of the Oakland Museum that's currently happening now, and then some of the planning behind for the bottom of Lake Merritt. So this is kind of a diagram of the open space and landscape, and the main green being the sports facilities, surrounded by a green access area, which could definitely be improved. It's nice, the recent improvements with the plantings have definitely dressed it up. But at the same time, you can't really see out and see in of what's going on in those classrooms and laboratories. The yellow, which doesn't show up so well, is the main kind of circulation pattern going from Fallon at the main entry from BART and through to the campus quad, the heart, and then also going down to the parking area. What we have identified in blue are the open spaces that are within the buildings, the courtyards, the areas by the art building, the swimming pool. So this shows some of those outdoor spaces, one being the lower level path that we looked at to find a way to make that much more hospitable and inviting. The views of the estuary that you can often get on the campus streets. Here's that perimeter landscaped area, which is, it's nice and bucolic, but wouldn't you like to know what's going on in that classroom and see the activity that goes on in there, or from the street? These are some of the open space. Oh, okay. The seating areas, of course, we'd love to upgrade those some more, and the courtyards. Also new lighting and lighting fixtures. So,
okay.
And I'll hand this over to Cheryl.
So just to kind of bring you back to these program considerations that Dan mentioned, this is really our jumping off point now to really dig into the planning and to start to sort out what the programs need. As he mentioned, some with the red arrows require some growth to meet your 2022 needs, but then some you actually have too much space. So we worked real closely with Moss at this point to try and start to see what major shifts were appropriate to help bring programs together to create some of those centers of excellence, but also to start to rebalance some of your program issues, ending up with just, again, a small overall gain in space on the whole campus by the year 2022. These were some of the centers of excellence that were listed in your own educational master plan that the college has been developing. And so this just kind of gives you a laundry list of sort of what was one of our jumping off points. And again, you know, you'll see as we go through the master plan, you know, some of the areas that, you know, we're able to spend some attention looking at or that require some major moves are things like maybe cosmetology, looking at how to address the sciences, which are, yes?
So you've eliminated some of the categories that were on there and some of the categories that are in our master plan.
In the centers of excellence?
Well, yeah.
I may not have captured every single one. Some of them that were listed don't necessarily maybe have a major planning move required or require like a major reshuffling of space. So what we tried to do in this list anyway is just give a representation of some of the more major ones that impacted our space planning. I know there are some more that are listed, but a lot of that we felt working with Moss could easily be accommodated in smaller moves and shifts and renovations. and they didn't become some of the bigger drivers that a few of these become. So point